Blue Protocol Star Resonance, a brand new action anime MMORPG that has had quite the history. Originally developed by Bandai Namco and released in 2023 as just Blue Protocol in Japan, the original Blue Protocol's launch was apparently met with a rather poor reception, leading to low population numbers and ultimately the game's closure only 2 years later in 2025. A shame considering the game was slated to be released worldwide, and from gameplay footage you can find on YouTube of the original version, it seemed to at least have some promise. Unfortunately, the original game did get shut down, but it was quickly revived when it was announced that Blue Protocol Star Resonance would be releasing this same year. From what I can gather, Blue Protocol Star Resonance is developed by Shanghai Bokura Network Technology and published by A+ Japan, with some involvement of Bandai Namco. Star Resonance was apparently originally slated to be a sister mobile title, similar to other MMORPGs with a mobile version like Black Desert Online Mobile or MapleStory M. However, when the original Blue Protocol ended up discontinuing service, Star Resonance was essentially overhauled to be released as the relaunch of Blue Protocol. Much of the game's mechanics and designs are different in Star Resonance compared to the original release, for better or for worse. However, besides all the struggle this title has gone through, it has finally been released for the global market to finally experience. Personally, I had been following Blue Protocol since its original announcement back in 2023, and was really bummed when the global release was cancelled. So when it was announced that it was basically getting revived, I immediately wishlisted it on Steam and downloaded it day one. So after playing and experiencing most of what the game has to offer, how is it? Well, let's talk about Blue Protocol Star Resonance. Blue Protocol Star Resonance is a completely free-to-play MMO that is available on multiple platforms. The game is available on Steam, Epic Store, iOS, and Android, with the game having cross-play between platforms and cross-save for PC and mobile devices. Unfortunately, as of right now, Star Resonance is not on console, but I assume if the game is successful enough, it most likely would be ported to consoles in the future. Whatever platform you choose to play the game on, once you sign in, you'll be greeted with character creation. Character creation in Star Resonance is fairly standard, having choices of gender, multiple choices for body types, hair, colors, face, eyes, sliders to modify specific body parts like arms, legs, waist, and of course, chest.
Nice.
Next, you'll choose a starting class. Currently, there is a total of 8 classes to choose from. Each class has a specific role that it fits into, from attack, guard, or support. The attack classes are Marksman, Frost Mage, Wind Knight, and Stormblade. Support classes are Verdant Oracle and Beat Performer, and lastly, the guard classes are Shield Knight and Heavy Guardian. Once you choose a class, you'll be introduced into the game's intro story cutscene introducing the world. It begins with your character swimming through what looks like some sort of space rift. It of course all goes to crap and you get sucked into an energy field, awakening in a strange place.
Of course!
From here, you learn that you have no recollection of your previous life. Having really no choice in the matter, you set out on an adventure with new friends to try and recover your memories while also helping the city of Asterleeds. The story is fairly cliche, with many of its characters following the traditional anime tropes, but that's sort of in the game's favor. If you are an avid anime fan, you'll probably find the story and characters to be quite entertaining. Graphically, the game has a familiar-inspired Zelda Breath of the Wild style, having an incredibly beautiful, colorful world to explore, with characters having loads of expression, detail, and personality. Now, this style has become sort of common at this point. As I stated, it's basically copying the same smoother, soft graphical theme that was popularized by The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Star Resonance essentially looks exactly like all the other games that copied this style: Genshin Impact, Tower of Fantasy, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, Ananta. Yeah, there's quite a lot of these games that have popped up in the past couple years, but Don't get me wrong, the game is super pretty to look at. Musically, the game sports a decent soundtrack as well, with many of the tracks being ambient tunes to complement its explorable zones. My favorite track definitely has to be the default exploration theme that plays while adventuring in the open plains. Beyond the short tutorial segment after the intro that teaches you movement, interacting, and menu navigation, you'll quickly get introduced to the main gameplay features like questing, combat, exploration, and character progression. Movement in Star Resonance is very intuitive, allowing you to dash, multi-jump, dodge, float, and wall run. If you are familiar with how Genshin Impact or Tower of Fantasy plays, you'll feel right at home here. Exploration has a lot of incentives because of the various movement options. There are a ton of goodies to find out in the open world, like chests, gatherables, and various challenges, much of which rewards you with cash shop currency. More on that later. Combat is an active action combat system. Players have various spells and abilities that can be slotted into the hotbar below, with a standard normal attack that is available. As you can imagine, all of the movement options is also incorporated into combat, allowing you to dash, jump, or dodge during fights. Classes can have various builds, allowing for some various build customization. I was actually surprised by the amount of depth here in combat, especially in the dedicated boss fights. Content-wise, you have the normal MMO options here, like quests, life skills, social events, and more, which all help in character progression. Questing is the same gameplay you've seen before, with many of the tasks requiring you to talk to X person, kill Y enemy, or collect Z items. Luckily, some quests are a little more involved though, having you potentially fight a boss, complete a dungeon, explore an area, or even solve a puzzle. Quests are pretty much the best experience in the game, with the story quest rocketing you to max level in practically a few hours if you choose to skip all the cutscenes and text. Max level in Star Resonance is currently 60, with each level boosting your stats and various level milestones rewarding you talent points, movement skills, or class abilities. Each class has a talent tree that you can spend your talent points into, with a choice of 2 specializations eventually being unlocked that effectively allows each class to be played in 2 different ways. Class abilities similar to Throne and Liberty can be leveled and ranked up, but each level or rank requires materials to do so. Beyond class abilities, you also have Battle Imagines, which are skills that summon a monster to perform an attack. Of course, you also have equipment that can be earned from various forms of content that can be powered up and slotted with gems. Then finally, you have your season emblem, which also provides a further boost in stats. Most of these systems are not heavily dependent on RNG, or can at least be endlessly farmed to earn their power, but there are elements of RNG in progression that will keep you on the proverbial hamster wheel. While you are grinding, you do at least complete achievements and fill out your monster compendium, earning you titles, profile customization options, and once again, cash shop currency. Dungeons and raids can be queued for, with a handful of different dungeon options being available, as well as different difficulties, all of which can reward gear, currency, or crafting materials. There is also world bosses that spawn for players to fight, similar to world events from other MMOs. By far, the dungeon and boss content is probably the most fun activities to take part in, since fights actually have engaging mechanics and have a lot of players actively playing them. Besides dungeon grinding or endgame raids, there is the social features like life skills, guilds, or player-owned houses. There are several life skills and professions in Star Resonance. Botany, mineralogy, gemology, artisanry, smelting, gem crafting, weaving, culinary, and alchemy are the various gathering and crafting professions, with each one being able to be leveled up and improved to unlock various crafting recipes or allow you to gather higher quality items. Unfortunately, the crafting/gathering skills are restricted behind a stamina system. Specific actions require focus, while others do not. Anything requiring focus will reward significantly more experience, as well as earning 1 point of mastery every 300 focus that can be spent to learn new recipes or allow you to gather other items. Any action that does not require focus can be done endlessly, but rewards such little experience, you may as well not even bother. bother. Luckily, fishing and the player-owned housing systems are not as restrictive. Fishing is a social activity that can be done at various fishing points and is leveled up like the other life skills. Higher fishing levels allow you to use better rods, catch bigger fish, and fill out your fishing collection. Player-owned housing actually has a lot of features to it as well. For one, up to 5 players can decorate and manage a house together. The housing itself allows you to decorate with various craftable furnitures and earned items. You can also upgrade and level the amenities you have within the home, earning more rewards if you choose to spend more time in the system. Guilds also have a similar feature with the Guild Center. In general, the guild systems in this game are actually fairly good, having guild progression, activities, rewards, and more. Overall, the social features in general for Star Resonance are actually some of its strongest systems. The biggest things holding this game back, though, is just how much it feels like a mobile game. What a shocker. Now, it's not lost on me that Star Resonance was meant to be a purely mobile MMORPG that was shifted into being a PC/mobile hybrid at the last moment. However, for many of us in the Western market, we were hoping that the game would feel more so like a proper MMORPG, which is sadly most likely how the original Blue Protocol actually played. Not to mention, that's how Star Resonance was advertised.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
I can admit there are good qualities in Star Resonance that could make it a great MMO to spend time in, but for the long haul, I can't see myself playing for longer than a few weeks at a time in small spurts, like I typically do with other mobile games. Things like the time-gated focus system, content being bite-sized, and auto-battling really hinder the experience of Star Resonance, and I suspect many MMO-minded players who wanted more from this title probably feel the same way. So what about the game's cash shop? Is that at least fair? So Star Resonance is completely free to play from top to bottom. Everything in the game content-wise is free, with the game having a cash shop. The cash shop is primarily all cosmetics, with a few glaring caveats. Most of the items that can be purchased with the game's cash shop currency, called Rose Orbs, are largely just cosmetics, a lot of which you can actually just get for free from content through the earnable cash shop currency. Now, the auction house and gacha loot boxes is where you can potentially pay money to buy power, leading to arguably pay to win. So in the auction house, you can convert your cash shop currency to tradable cash shop currency, and then that currency to in-game gold. With in-game gold, you can purchase skill books, crafting materials, and generally items you need to get more powerful. But technically, you can also be a completely free-to-play player and earn everything, cash shop currency included. There are some items in the cash shop that can only be purchased with specifically bought Rose Orbs, but all of those are cosmetics, and a lot of items can also just be earned with earnable currency. The gacha loot boxes, however, specifically the battle image loot boxes, can reward some powerful battle images to equip. You can earn pulls to this gacha through gameplay and events, but you can also just buy pulls. The season pass can also earn you some relatively important materials if you pay for the levels and premium pass. So yeah, if you pay money, you will have an advantage over others who don't, but it's really not a huge advantage, especially with the game having no PvP whatsoever. So you really aren't getting much of an advantage over other players, besides saving you from spending some time grinding. But I will acknowledge that the cash shop is arguably pay to win. Blue Protocol Star Resonance surprised me in a few ways with its robust social activities, engaging boss mechanics, and fun combat, but I can't help but feel that I'm just playing a mobile game a lot of the time. A lot of content is gated behind timers or forced daily tasks. It also doesn't help that you can basically experience everything within the game in a few short hours, which begs the question, will people actually stick around? So far since launch, the game has been slowly trickling in events and new content to play through every day, but is it enough? For what the game is, it's not a bad time. I definitely had fun playing through dungeons, collecting cosmetics, mounts, completing achievements, and fighting through guild raids, but there wasn't anything that was really making me want to stay logged in. For some, that will be the perfect type of game, something that doesn't really overly demand a ton of your time. But for the veteran MMORPG enthusiasts out there, Star Resonance ain't it. Anyways, let's get to my final thoughts. For viewers who like the recent online anime games that started with Genshin Impact, Blue Protocol Star Resonance will be right up your alley. Its graphical style and world will be very similar to those games. The game is fully free to play, allowing you to play from the beginning all the way to end game free of charge. You also have the option to play not only from PC, but your mobile devices with the cross-save feature available for your account. Much of the content available for Star Resonance encourages a lot of socialization and community engagement. Whether it's a dance party at the city hub, a group hunting party, or a world boss, there always seems to be something you can do with other players. Finally, the game really seems to strike a good balance between casual MMO and hardcore. You can perfectly play the game for an hour or two a night and still feel like you are making decent progress. On the flip side though, there is content that will challenge your skills in terms of difficulty or allow you to grind endlessly if you want to. Sadly, the game does not have any PvP content whatsoever. This is most likely due to how nightmarish the balance would be in how the game's combat works, but it's still a shame that there isn't some sort of PvP mode. I could see more casual PvP content working though, like mount races or style contests. The game debatably has a pay-to-win cash shop. You can swipe for materials, gold, imagines, and various other things you need to make your character stronger. While technically you can earn everything without spending a dime, those who do spend money can get ahead. Star Resonance unfortunately also suffers from feeling too much like a mobile game. This won't bother players who actually play on mobile, but for those who are looking for that proper MMORPG experience that was advertised, it's not here. There is glimmers of it here and there, especially in the dungeon content. Then you see things like auto battling, the mobile-like UI, time-gated mechanics, or quick bite-sized content. Hopefully the game will release more content that will cater not only to the mobile market, but PC MMO players as well. So that's Blue Protocol Star Resonance. It's a shame that us players here in the West won't ever get to experience what could have been with the original version of Blue Protocol, but I am glad the game did at least release here in some form with Star Resonance. But I can't help but wonder, will it suffer the same fate as the original version? Anyways, are you playing Blue Protocol Star Resonance? Comment below and let me know. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel to support my content. Follow all my social media links in the description below, and I hope to see you all next time.